Hello, and welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. My name is Marjorie Lowe, and I will be your host today. We have a wonderful show for you, but first, let's meet our panel. With us today is Sherry Upman, who is a producer, a director, and rumor has it she literally grew up in show business. Teddy Harrell. Teddy is the Assistant Center Director at the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center, and he also has an extensive background in show business. And finally, Mr. Bill Hirschman, he has an extensive background in show business. He is a theater arts journalist who is also one of the founders of FloridaTheaterOnStage.com. Welcome. And now I would like to welcome our guest, who is an acclaimed acting instructor and an acting coach, Miss Sara Rogers. Hello, Sara. How are you?
Hello to all of you.
Oh, we're so glad to have you.
Great to have you.
So I'm going to cut right to the chase. First question. I know you have an extensive background in show business, 30 years plus in South Florida.
Correct.
As an actor on stage and film and television. What was your transition and your journey to becoming an acting coach?
That's a very good question. I had a friend by the name of Rex Benson. Called me in a panic. I was teaching at that point one-on-one. So he calls me in a panic. He was teaching at the Hollywood Playhouse, and he said, I have 60 students. And I went, okay. And I'm thinking, 60 students? How do you get 60 students? Hollywood Playhouse. Please come and teach half the class. And I went, okay. So I went in, I took half the class, he taught half the class, and he had his 30 students and I had mine. So I go to Dolores Miller at the time, who was running Hollywood Playhouse, because I always know about actors and their needs, and I'm in tune with them. Love actors. So I said, Dolores, Monday night we're dark. May I please use the stage for what I call the bare bones performance to this day? She goes, sure. I said, are you sure now? She said, yes. So I tell my students we're going to have a bare bones performance of their monologues and their scenes. So come, 8 weeks later, we have ours. Nothing fancy, just the stage light, that was it. Well, guess who all wanted to be in my class the next time? So that's how he brought me to my passion and my love. I love to perform. I've performed as Carmen Miranda on stages around here for a very long time, lip syncing and live. However, when I teach, it's like I'm home now. Don't forget, I'm older now. Before I was younger, you had all this energy. You would run around and go on castings, and you do, and you whatever. I didn't go to the stage very often, although I was trained in the stage. And the reason being a single woman with nobody to support you, you have to always make a living to keep a roof over your head. I love the theater. I come from the theater. But I transitioned into film as well. So I do both. And people say, you teach this and you teach that, you teach that. Why? Because I can. That's why. So that's what I do.
So do you find there's a different method you use then, or different vocabulary when you teach for the stage as opposed to teaching for film?
Correct. I teach them when they're coming into, whether it's an improv class or the monologue and scene, they get the basic stage directions. So when they do camera, I also tell them, these are directions. Now here's the stage directions. They're opposite. Everything is written for the camera. For the stage, it's written for the actor. Which, okay, you're on set, and they go, move to your right. And everybody goes to the right. And the camera people who are with you go, no, you're on the right, honey. So I tell them, it's okay, don't worry if you make a mistake, because somebody will be there to catch you, no matter where you are.
From a technique standpoint, is there a difference, a general underlying difference between stage technique and camera technique?
Absolutely.
What do you tell people about that?
Okay, I'm on the stage. They see me back in the seats. I'm on the camera. Everything is right here. They want you right here. All your work is here. So, but when you do an audition, it's different than doing on set. These are all different techniques. When you do an audition for something, let's do commercials. Yeah, let's stay away from that for one second. Let's go to episodic.
Okay.
So with episodic television, you have a little bit of a script, unless you have one word, which is the hardest. But if you have your episodic, there's always business. She picks up her cup and throws it at somebody. Or she's washing down a counter. Or he's doing this. But if they stand there and go, hi, my name is Sara Rogers. I stand 5'4". Oh yeah, I'm reading for Joan. Hello, my name is Joan. It doesn't work. But if I said, hey, my name is Joan, as I'm doing something, it looks interesting. You have to catch them on the slate for camera, on your audition, and you have to catch them you have to do something. And I call it business. Do some business, whatever that happens to be.
On your slate.
No, yeah, your slate's a whole different thing. I teach them my method of slate. I'm not going to give that away here because
That's
We've gotta
one
take
of
her
the
class.
questions that I wanted to ask
Go
you
ahead.
about method. Whether in all these years you've designed your own.
I have.
Yeah, so you don't teach Meisner or Stanislavski. Is this your own method?
It is. What I do is, because my personal feelings are everyone learns at a different pace. He's going to learn differently than you, and differently, you're going to learn differently. And you're scratching your head because you're doing Meisner and you're going, why am I doing this? That was me. Why am I doing this? I didn't get Meisner. But it's a good technique. And so you take all of these techniques. This one will resonate with you, where it won't resonate with me. Something else will resonate with him. So who am I to tell him that Uta Hagen's the best, or that Stanislavski's the best, or that Meisner's the best? Who am I? I'm just another actor giving back to my community.
Oh, you're in the moment.
I'm in the moment.
Wonderful.
So I make sure that they understand that there are no mistakes, and you just keep going.
You know, Sarah, this is all very interesting. I always wanted to know, with actors, what is the hardest thing for them to do when it comes to the rehearsal process?
Well, that's a good one. It depends on the actor itself. I had a young man come to me telling me, I cannot learn more than 9 lines. And I let him rant and rave and holler at me for 30 minutes of why he can't do this. He's doing it now, and he's doing it very well. Because we had a conversation, and I said, if you're going to limit yourself to 9 lines, okay then, that's all you can
You had a
go
very
out for something that
specific
gives you-
number, 9.
9 lines. Yes, exactly. Very specific. I said, I disagree with you. I think you can learn thousands of lines, thousands. So he is still with me today, and he still is going out for different things, and he still has a problem with memorization. I give him memorization techniques as well. However,
Can you give us some?
I can.
She forgot.
She forgot. Absolutely. So I give them, okay, maybe he learns the memorization. I have one student, goes from the top to the bottom. You can give him 7 pages, the one I was telling you about. Amazing. He's got it in an hour. An hour. So that's the difference of 2 different people doing whatever the memorization techniques are. So there are a few that I give. My main one are your keywords and your lines. Use keywords and lines, and he's got a confused look on his face.
No, I understand.
Oh, okay. What I mean by that is I make them break down a script, and I still do this today. I take a script, sometimes I don't have to write it as much as I used to, but you take it, you have keywords that goes for a sentence or a transition thought or a thought. My mother is throwing me out of the house because I do drugs. What one word of that sentence would have you remember that entire line? What word?
Drugs.
Drugs. Okay, so for
Drugs,
him it's
yeah.
drugs. Okay, but everybody has their own. Maybe for her it's my mother.
My mother, did you say my mother threw me
out
out?
of the- Yes.
That resonates with me.
So throw out. So that's so
Yeah.
everybody comes with a different key word. So you can write more than one for every transition or every thought, or if you have to break it down sentence by sentence. So you can take pages of dialogue and make it down to 10 words.
That are your key words.
That are your keywords. But the other gentleman, he learns the script from top to bottom, and he just that's his way, constantly go over.
Right.
So when I tell them, you don't have to do this. It's your way. It's your business. My job is to get the actor that's within out into the open. It's lurking in there. People don't come to me because they want to see me. They want to learn something.
Right.
So that's what they learn. They learn how to get the actor out.
So I know you also teach for the corporate world. You teach public speaking.
I do.
Do you use that method for them to
I
get
do.
the actor out?
I do.
Yeah.
I make them write a 5-minute speech.
Okay.
And with that, and I said, it's nice if you can memorize your keywords. But if you cannot, that's okay. But what I'm trying to do with your corporate people is they have a base. They come to me with, this is what I need to do. I had a lovely woman come to me. She was scared. She said she has been speaking and she cannot make this happen. She goes to Africa for all the children that are refugees now moving into Africa, and there's no food.
Wow.
And people have to, I'm just giving you her story. So she went there because she was drawn there to teach them. So she's making this big conglomerate to where they're teaching for 2 weeks. They bring people in and teach. So she comes to me and I said, okay, let me hear your speech. And she goes, she's everywhere. She's rambling. And I said, okay, fine. It's okay. What you're doing is fine. If you're making money this way, who am I to tell you differently?
Right.
However, let's get this better. So her mother goes with her on her first one, and she said, tell that girl she's a genius. Because now I focus her. I tell her what not to wear, what to look like, how to look at an audience, what to do. Because a lot of these people are just trained to do, hi, yeah, well, my product is this, and and they don't even look at the audience. They're just rambling. So get it focused. And I teach them, this is your base. And if you need to speak about something else from here and here and here, you have an opportunity to do that.
Right.
I'm curious, you mentioned earlier the phrase "in the moment," which always fascinates me as someone who spends most of his time out in the audience. There is a clear difference between performers who are just learning their craft and experienced actors.
Yeah.
And one of them is that actors who are just learning their craft and starting out are acting, and you can catch them acting
Correct.
all the time, even when it's a non-presentational performance. Whereas I've seen wonderful actors, and Marjorie, who inhabit their character, and they are in the moment, and they're constantly there. Even when it's a presentational performance, you don't think, oh, look, she's doing this great little bit here. How do you advise your students to go from one place to the other?
Good question. What you'll notice when you read about me or hear about me or hear my students, I mix my beginners with my advanced. This coming year, I'm going to have just
In one
in one
class,
class.
one session?
because a person who comes to me who's a beginner is reading lines. Just my showcase just lately for them. I'm not in this showcase. It's all about them. When the bare bones, when you can tell the ones that are new, like you say, they're just saying the lines. They're not doing it. So they get to see other people who are more advanced, they're being in the moment, not just reading lines, and they go, that's really good, and they know they can get there. That's the key. Getting them there is making them do it over and over and over and over again. I help them with their blocking a little bit, because I try to make them do it, and then I make it better, and I make them do it again, try to make it a little bit better, because they'll put their back to the audience, or they'll do little things. And the ones who really want to do this step up to the plate. The ones who do not are just repeating lines. So it's very difficult to get a newbie up to that point, but that's how I do it.
So you have the advanced or the seasoned performers working with the beginners.
Correct.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So they're learning by example.
Correct.
And they're teaching each other.
Correct.
And it's challenging for the seasoned performer too, because
Right.
they have to work with someone and take what you're given
Yes.
from someone new.
Do you
That's
really
great.
know who you're going to be working with at all times? Never. Never. It's
Especially
nice,
on a set.
especially on a set and at the theater. You don't know. It's nice when you're working with someone and you know who they are, you know what they need to drink of water, or how they are, how their personalities
Right.
are. So when people say, I don't want to do this scene because I don't like this person, I go, what do you think life is? You're going to do scenes with people
No
that
choice.
that you love all the time? It's not happening. So get used to it. If you can't, I had a girl who didn't show up for an improv show. She's in New York right now. She didn't even call to apologize. She never told me she wasn't coming. She called me the other day, and she didn't apologize because that's not in her makeup, but that was her apology. She's studying in New York. She came to me to help her get in. She did an audition to help her get in, here in South Florida, to help her get into a New York school. And she's not 20. She was like, she's 25 or something. So I expected her, and she was in the military. But when she started to give in the improv, wow, she came up with some beautiful ideas. And I said, oh, she's going to be really good. But she would back away. She would back away. And I thought, when you didn't show for here, what do you think New York is going to be? If you can't do it here, you can't do it anywhere. You can't go to New York. You can't. If you can't commit to doing your work here, you cannot commit.
Or anywhere,
Anywhere.
really, for that matter.
And so, yeah, go ahead.
So improv is something else that you teach then?
That's correct. I'm in an improvisational show right now. Improvisation class right now.
You got to improv it. Go.
I got to improv it, yeah. Improv class right now. I have 3 newbies and 3 seasoned. And I am so excited because my newbies, I can see they want to, oh, this is good, this is good. Right from the get-go, my very first evening, no matter what class I'm teaching, I do trust exercises. That's for me.
What is a trust exercise?
A trust exercise is going up to a person and saying, I hate them and I love them, and then we play the catch. We catch them, like of all of us. Physically. We all get in a circle and we catch. And the people who, I would stand up, but I can't. The people who like catch themselves or don't do or like this, those are the people that I know I need the most work with because they don't trust yet.
Right.
So as they progress, I'm sure you've gone through a lot of those exercises.
Lots of trust exercises.
Lots of trust exercises.
Is there an age limit?
In my classes?
Yeah, I mean, are there only young people falling backwards, or do you have older people just falling backwards? I was thinking I wouldn't trust them.
No, all of them do because we're around you and we catch you.
Yeah.
Our job is to catch you as you're falling with your eyes closed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, after we finish that one, you lay down and we all pick you up. We all pick you up.
So it's literal and figurative because that's what acting is.
Correct.
Now, improv is such a spontaneous art form.
Correct.
How do you teach that? How do you teach someone to be thinking on their feet?
Because we allow it. I have games that Viola Spolin, I think that's her name. I always forget the last name.
I used her for children's
You use
exercises.
it for children, yeah. And it works as well for adults. She has both, and I've studied that for 3.5 years. I love it, and I love it because not only is it spontaneous for the moment to get you there, but if you're on stage and something happens, you have a table fall over, and you have to be willing to just go with it. And if you had a mate, miss, could you come get this? Or if you have to pick it up yourself and move it to another area, while you're doing your lines, you have to make all that work spontaneously. So to me, improv and also works for camera. You're on set, or you're doing an audition. Let's go with the audition. You go with the audition, and you forget your line. In the middle of taping you have to send the tape out, or you're in the middle of the audition in front of a casting person, what do? If you freeze and go, oh, that was horrible, then they know that you're not an actor. If you just say, and continue, even though it's not the perfect lines, you're using your improvisation. So I think you use that for stage, for camera, auditions, as well as for being on set.
You know, one of the questions I want to ask you, Sarah, is what is the biggest challenge you've had as an acting teacher when you look at the Sarah from years ago to the Sarah now, and what have you learned about that from teaching actors?
You want to know my biggest challenge with actors? Oh, okay.
Without naming names.
Well, 18 years ago, no. I had an actor when I was teaching at the Hollywood Playhouse get upset and throw something at me.
Wow.
Really?
Really. And I
What
had
did they throw?
a paper.
Oh my goodness.
I can't do this.
Wow.
And I'm forcing them. I'm your teacher. I'm not, I'm not your master or anything. I'm just your teacher. So I went to my boss the next day, and she said to him, "Here's your money back. Get out of here. You can't do this." He just literally threw it. He was just being very obnoxious. How do I handle obnoxious people today? I'm just very patient and kind. I've turned into this very kind human being, and no matter what, even people who come to me for camera and they go, hello, and they're giving me nothing, and I go, okay, can we do that again? And just very kind and very gentle, because I remember classes that I've taken in the past to where you've got to do it this way. You've got to do it this way. This is how it's done. You're horrible. Oh, okay, okay, I'm horrible. henceforth all the work I've done. You cannot let anybody tell you how bad you are or how good you are. You just have to keep going. But that's my challenge, is getting these people to understand this isn't brain surgery. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's fun. Have fun with it. Yes, there's rules. Yes, there's regulations. Yes, you should follow certain things, but have fun doing it. This is not.
So you teach in a safe environment.
Oh, very safe environment.
That's very, very important to actors.
Yes.
I remember many years ago I had taken the Stanislavski method. Yeah, and people were told that they just weren't any good, and they left, never to come back. Yeah.
Do you find, I interviewed an actor 2 or 3 years ago who was from here, went to New York, and came back.
Okay.
And one of the things that he noticed was that in New York, and apparently in Chicago, and especially in London, experienced actors continue to take class.
Correct.
They continue to work. They're major names who will continue to go to class. But he said, and I'm wondering what your experience is with this, that we don't see this down here as often. Do you find that you have experienced actors who come to you and are looking for help? And if not, what do you think they would gain if they did come to you?
Okay, that's a two-part question.
Right.
Okay. Yes, I get them. I get people that are seasoned or advanced. And it's nice that they come to the class because, like I said, the newbies can see the difference, especially the monologues and scenes, or the camera class too. That's really good too. However, what are they gaining? They're gaining back the basics of what it takes to get to where they are, and they appreciate where they are. This is my opinion now. They appreciate where they are so much because they had to start somewhere too. They had to be an extra on a film. They had to start doing one line on theater, or be the dead body in theater, to where you see the lights, or you see what's going on, and you see what needs to be done. However, that's what they gain. They gain it back, and then they get to work, and they get to risk. There are no mistakes in my class. You cannot make a mistake. So they get there, and if they want to try something, let's say they want to try a dialogue or a dialect, and they want to do that, go ahead. Let's see if it's going to work. Go for it.
That's the place to do it.
Place to do it. Let's take a look at it. And then I give them my opinion, and I say to the rest of the class, what do you think? And sometimes they agree with me, and sometimes they do not. And that's fine, because it's a collaboration.
I can see that in that many actors and other types of performers get somewhat typecast down here because they have certain clear skills. And when you have 2.5 and 3 weeks to rehearse, a director will often go, well, I know Teddy can do this kind of role. But Teddy may be able to do lots of other kinds of things. And to be able to just work those muscles, I would think that you give them an opportunity to do that and explore what they're capable of doing rather than what they would normally get hired for.
That's wonderful. Yeah, because as a director, I sometimes tend to typecast.
Exactly.
And this just opened me up to thinking, maybe
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And the other side of that is, because they can risk without, I'm not a casting director. I'm not. I'm just a person. I'm not an agent.
You're coaching them.
I'm coaching them. I'm here for them.
Right.
I love actors. We're all crazy. Everybody in this world is crazy.
Especially actors.
Especially, what I should say, we're all weird. In life, we're all weird. However, when we have ourselves as actors, we absorb our weirdness. We celebrate our weirdness because that's what makes us special. Who knew when I started here 37 years ago that I'd be on this set as an award-winning acting coach? Who knew? I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know. I was out performing. I just started, and here I am today. And I love what I do. I still go out on castings. And a couple of years ago, I did audition for theater about 7 years ago. And I thought, I have some time. Ooh, and I have some money. I can do this.
Where do you have the time?
Yeah.
What is your day like? Do you teach in a studio?
I teach right now at ArtServe. I used to teach, before that, I worked at the acting school of South Florida for 6.5 years for Michael Joya. I love Michael. Michael's an amazing actor. And I worked for him there. And I don't have my own studio. That's one of my goals, is to, no, here's what I want. I want to live on this side and have my studio here. That's it.
So if someone wants to find your classes, what's the best way they can do that? Do you have a website? Or?
Yes, I have a website. It's theadultactingcoach.com. Or they can go to meetup.com/South-Florida-actors.
Ooh, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Say it one more time for the audience.
It's meetup.com / the one that comes to me. I always forget which one that's
That's
called.
slash.
Yes, that's /
Yeah.
coming to you. South-Florida-actors. It tells you all my classes. But my website has it too. It's theadultactingcoach.com. People say to me, it sounds like it's porn. Well,
That's a whole different crowd.
that's a whole different crowd of people. I don't train those
Lots of
people.
different audiences.
However, to tell you the truth, that's on their head, not on mine. Because people say they found me because they were looking for an adult acting coach. That's why I went adult. Because every time they say classes, acting classes, they would get children.
Lots of little kids.
And, you know.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I
Well,
love what I do.
think it sounds like you cover a lot of bases
I
when
do.
you're teaching, and anybody starting out to someone that has experience could learn a lot from you. That's wonderful.
I think we've learned a lot today.
I think we have
Well,
too.
good. Yeah.
I know that Bill learned something today. Tell him what you learned today.
What did you learn today, Bill?
Well, we're going to let you tell us in the next show. There you go. We have to wrap up right now and bring this to a close. There's never enough time, but we'll learn it next time, Bill.
That's right.
I want to thank our panelists for being here today, and especially thank our guest, Sara Rogers. Thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you.
Wonderful having you here today, and it was great having you guys here today as well. We invite you to join us here every week on Spotlight on the Arts, and we also invite you to go to the theater, as Iris Acker would say. Go see a show. There's so much playing. You can find out what's happening around the South Florida area by going to floridatheateronstage.com. Check out their arts calendar and join us here next week on Spotlight on the Arts. We will see you then. Thanks for watching.